Hey guys, my name is Dice Rowan. Today we're going to be taking a look at some facts you didn't know about a truly beloved comic book character. Casper was directed by Rob Silberling and stars everyone's favorite friendly ghost, as well as several other different fleshies who either wish to get rid of his home or help him protect it, with many wacky and heartfelt moments throughout. So without further ado, these are some things you didn't know about Casper.
Who you gonna call? Someone else.
Alex Proyas was originally supposed to direct Casper, very shortly before he had finished filming The Crow. Proyas had said, "I was pretty distraught, and I guess this opportunity came up to do something that was different, in a faraway different direction than The Crow. It really appealed to me. In retrospect, it was a big mistake. Working on a project in Hollywood was like being thrown off the deep end." Proyas left the project ultimately due to creative differences between himself and the producers. A lot of plot elements were taken from Topper Returns 1941. In both movies, a woman named Carrington/Kerrigan inherits a haunted house with secret passages below it, tracks that lead to the secret area, and a ghost who resides there. The look of Whipstaff Manor is heavily inspired by architectural work of Antoni Gaudí. This is because Alex Proyas, the original director of the movie, didn't want the usual 19th century Victorian look of a haunted house. This was the first time that audiences saw a completely generated visual effect representing a character in a leading role. Whipstaff Manor should look familiar to 90s boy band fans. The manor was featured in the Backstreet Boys music video for Everybody Backstreet's Back. This is easiest to see during the ballroom dance sequence. When Dibbs and Kerrigan first arrive at Whipstaff Manor, Kerrigan says, "What a dump." This line was improvised by Moriarty, and was an unintentional reference to Bette Davis's famous line from Beyond the Forest, 1949. This was the last time Dan Aykroyd played Dr. Raymond Stantz, until the filming of Ghostbusters Afterlife 2021. This cameo, by the way, is confirmed by Aykroyd as canon in the Ghostbusters universe. When Dr. Harvey exits Kat's new room and trips on the small stairs, this was not intentional. Pullman actually tripped, but was able to continue in character. This was Brad Garrett's first voice acting role. It's implied during the mirror possession scene with Dr. Harvey that each cameo matches who the uncles were when they were alive. So, Clint Eastwood was Stretch, Rodney Dangerfield was Fatso, and Mel Gibson was Stinky. During the same scene, the Crypt Keeper makes an appearance. This ties in with another link to Tales from the Crypt, as Cathy Moriarty appeared in the Seance episode, which, ironically, also dealt with greedy characters seeking a fortune and a ghost. The first scene that was animated was the breakfast scene. This is why the ghosts seem more opaque than in the rest of the film. Similarly, the pancakes that Casper serves the Harveys aren't actually there. Those too were animated. The backstory Casper is given is not canon according to the comic books. According to this film, his last name is McFadden, and he died at 12 years old from pneumonia. This was the second time that Christina Ricci was Devon Sawa's love interest. Now and Then, 1995, was another instance of this. Moriarty went on to play the part of Aunt Gert in Casper Meets Wendy, 1998. This served as Universal Pictures' first live-action and animated hybrid film. One of the earlier drafts of the script had Wendy the Good Little Witch make an appearance and befriend Casper. The studio dropped this concept as they only wanted to spend money to buy the rights to Casper. Not all of the uncles retained their original names either. Lazo and Fusso became Stretch and Stinky. Their personalities were also altered, as Lazo was meant to be a lazy, loafing ghost, and Fusso was persnickety. Though uncredited, J.J. Abrams is responsible for a rewrite of the screenplay. Just 1 week after Alex Proyas left production, Brad Silberling was hired. The role of Dr. James Harvey was offered to Dennis Quaid, Hugh Grant, Tom Hanks, John Ritter, Kurt Russell, Tim Allen, Jim Carrey, and Robin Williams, all of whom declined. Some others who were considered were Rick Moranis, Chevy Chase, Phil Hartman, John Lovitz, Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, and Steve Martin. Anthony Hopkins was offered the part of Dr. Harvey, and though he was interested in taking it, his schedule for working on Nixon 1995 conflicted with this. Similarly, there were several actresses who were considered for the part of Kerrigan Crittenden, including Kelly Preston, Lee Thompson, Stockard Channing, Rebecca De Mornay, Elizabeth Shue, Sigourney Weaver, Debbie Mazar, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman, Femke Janssen, Gina Davis, Tilda Swinton, Elizabeth Perkins, Fran Drescher, Jennifer Tilly, Renee Russo, Heather Locklear, Terry Hatcher, Glenn Close, Jamie Lee Curtis, Carrie Fisher, Kathy Najimy, Miranda Richardson, Robin Wright, and Kathleen Turner. Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Austin O'Brien were initially considered for the voice of Casper. For the role of Kat, Catherine Isabel Scarlett Johansson, Kirsten Dunst, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Thora Birch, Natalie Portman, Anna Paquin, and Anna Klumsky were considered. For the role of Dibs, Bob Hoskins, Hugh Laurie, John Cleese, Michael Palin, Chevy Chase, Alan Rickman, Bryan Cranston, Terry Gilliam, Rowan Atkinson, Rick Mayall, Bill Murray, Steve Martin, Jason Alexander, Michael Richards, Daniel Stern, Gene Wilder, Leslie Nielsen, Gregory Peck, Stephen Fry, George Carlin, Phil Collins, Patrick Stewart, and Christopher Lloyd were considered. Christina Ricci played a key part in the casting of Devon Sawa. Silberling brought her with him when he auditioned young actors because he knew there needed to be a strong reaction between Ricci and the human version of Casper. When Sawa and Ricci met, she blushed and giggled quite a lot. This was how Silberling knew they had their human Casper. Friendship, Maine is a real place, and it's near Camden and Rockport, where some exterior scenes were shot. This is where the movie was filmed. It also played the part of Silvertown in Joe Dirt. The meaning of the name Casper is treasurer, which ties in perfectly with the story, as Casper is an oblivious protector of the treasure and the Lazarus machine. A scene featuring Zelda Rubinstein was filmed, where she shot out of the chimney while yelling "Go toward the light," but this was cut. Harvey Comics really seemed to take issue with representations of ghosts in film. A specific instance of this was when they claimed copyright infringement on the Ghostbusters logo. They claimed that it looked a little too much like Fatso. Harvey Comics sued Columbia Pictures for $50 million and the destruction of all prints of the Ghostbusters. However, this lawsuit was dismissed because the comic distributor hadn't renewed the copyright on Fatso. During the mirror scene in which Dr. James Harvey's face changes into several recognizable celebrities, one of those recognizable faces was supposed to be Steven Spielberg, and though this cameo was shot, it was later cut for pacing reasons, to which Spielberg was rather relieved, as he felt he was a terrible actor. James and Kat Harvey are named after the original comic publisher of Casper the Friendly Ghost, Harvey Comics. In order to represent the location of the ghosts and where the actors should be looking, tennis balls were used. In order to simulate Casper's presence for Ricci, a fishing wire was attached to her wrist. There was a musical number filmed during one of the sessions between Dr. Harvey and the uncles. It was titled "Lucky Enough to Be a Ghost." However, it was abandoned because of how expensive the visual effects needed would be. If you're like me, you would be curious to know what Stretch, Fatso, and Stinky looked like when they were human. There was a deleted scene from the segment where Kat is in the attic, and she comes across an old photograph of the uncles. Heir to Harvey Comics, Russell Harvey hated this movie, specifically how, in his opinion, it forced child-unfriendly humor and overly dark, completely pointless backstory into something meant to represent innocence. This disappointment also includes Steven Spielberg for having wasted a chance to make a heartfelt adaptation. A sequel was proposed and the script was drafted, but both Pullman and Ricci would not be available for over a year. Producers decided to continue forward with a cartoon series instead. This became The Spooktacular New Adventures of Casper, 1996. Props and items from the set were on display at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida for many years. On many occasions, Devon Sawa has been asked by fans if he used his famous line, "Can I keep you?" as a pickup line. In a 2016 interview, Sawa said, "I haven't said those words since I shot Casper. Never, never. I'm very shy about stuff like that, so I don't think I could ever muster up the courage to use that as a pickup line. But I get it at least once a day, at least, especially on Twitter. Or someone will tweet me the video like I haven't seen it. It's cute." Apparently, Eric Idle was so uninterested in this movie that he claims to not remember shooting it and doesn't talk about it. There was a short-lived musical production of Casper that started in 1999 and ended in 2000, though it received an equally short revival in 2001 and 2019. The concept of it was that a media tycoon was attempting to get the deed for Whipstaff Manor, and to achieve this, she creates a reality TV show set in the manor, where several children would be sent in order to find and steal the deed for a monetary reward. Some of the reasons this production didn't do well was, according to critics, due to uncomfortable dialogue, too many empty seats, and some costumes making cast members look like members of the KKK. So those were some things about Casper you may not have known. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. See you later.